but I did not say anything other than ask him to be honest and transparent. I had had the privilege of dealing with Mr. Miller for about 8 years, in which he had consistently tried to undermine the rules of the party and making many allegations without ever filing one charge. This is the first time any of us have ever followed the rules with respect to...
I believe that's an adequate answer. Thank you. Mr. Shattuck.
My point, you made my point. We're sort of wandering off into other time zones and places.
Let me offer a question to Mr. Ross, since he espouses to have a substantial knowledge.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Parliamentarians, you were asking when it would be appropriate for you to do that, and I think it's at the point in the agenda that allows for other SEC members.
Okay, fair enough. Excellent. Good suggestion. I'll stay out of the middle of this at this time. You have one more question?
I don't.
You were handed something by your client. Does that impact that decision?
No.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, Mr. Ross and Mr. Millett, would you please make your full presentation?
Well, I'll let Mr. Millett has provided his written response, and we'd like that part of the record.
Sure.
And we'd like to make sure that those members of the SEC who aren't present, who haven't been able to be present, and those that are present telephonically get a copy before any vote. And then I'll call on Mr. Millett to make a brief statement, and then he can answer any questions you may have. Ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay. Here are my answers to these allegations brought forth by Mr. McQuarrie. As Mr. Ross said, I apologize for any delay in getting you my answers. And those are participating telephonically. Had this meeting happened tomorrow when it was originally scheduled, you would have gotten those statements that I've made. Before I open this meeting up to questions of me, and I would like to state that in April 2012, I was elected as chairman of the Alaska Republican Party by a solid majority of seated delegates. I ask that you respect their vote and let me do what I was elected to do. If I don't do the job properly, I will resign, or the SEC can remove me. Until then, let me show what I can do. Let's work together to get rid of Senators Mark Begich, Senator Hollis French, and Senator Bill Nowakowski. And the lady that was in protest at the Republican convention in April was not sitting at my table. Now take your questions.
I'll refer to the executive committee for questions.
Point of order at this point, if I could, Mr. Chairman. What's the format for the questioning, for the questions? If I could just clarify that.
I have some questions that have been presented to me in writing, which I would prefer. I can review those at this time. I also will allow members to just ask their questions, since I know that one member has not had time to present me with something, and I believe the simplest way to start this is just start with our last writing member who has been on the trail. And,
I apologize, the plane was circling in the fog.
So, point of order, are we going to start the SEC 10 minutes at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
And is it supposed to be cross-examination before we do SEC member questions?
Let's just take the time, the 5 minutes and the 10, combine them as one block of questions rather than two separate sets. That's got to be more efficient.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Russ, I've just got a couple of questions. I've been barraged with a number of email things all week long. I didn't get to see this. When was this completed today? The defense.
These are my rebuttal of allegations.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other thing, I don't think the National Committee man heard my outline of the objections that I made to this procedure.
But I've seen some of them in writing. Are they the same?
You've seen some. There's additions. Yeah. To summarize it.
Yeah. Well, I just have a couple questions because I'm curious, and I'm just trying to figure out a couple things. And one of them, you know, Is it true, Russ, that that you were given a key to the building?
Yes.
About how long ago? Several months?
Several months. I think I was given that. I don't know the specific date. I was maybe 6-8 weeks after I was elected.
And
First document.
And so you were allowed in and out of the building just anytime you wanted to come in, and were you ever not given access to any of the records that were in the building?
No.
So you could go through the records that were here. If there was anything on computer you could ask, they would get it for you.
Well, I don't know about that part,
Okay.
but I could access
All the
files,
records were here
Yeah.
in your office there?
I could, yes.
Yeah. And did anybody ever deny you access to any records?
No.
Did they say no?
Not records that I could access in the office or wherever else were located.
Okay. And I include like things like the APOC reports, the FEC reports, financial reports that were done.
I presume
Yeah.
that would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you spend some time going through those records?
No.
Okay. Between 2010 and 2012, there's a question in my mind as I was going through your thing here. Did you, after 2010 convention, did you again re-register as independent, or did you stay as a Republican?
I believe that's true. If that's what Mr. McQuarrie found in the.
I didn't see that in the defense. It looked to me like.
It seems like it was, Ralph. So
Yeah. In the defense, it looked like you were Republican from 2010 through 2012, but I couldn't remember whether you had gone back to independent in the interim.
I may have.
Okay.
Okay. Can I say something in that regard?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm just trying to
I understand.
clarify in my own mind, Russ.
I'd be happy to answer your question.
I'm not trying to be offensive.
Full disclosure, I understand. You've been very kind.
Yeah.
As I said in my rebuttals here to these allegations, I've been a Republican for at least 44 years, maybe longer. I've never been anything other than a Republican or an undeclared. I've never been a Democrat. I have too much self-respect to become a Democrat. I won't become a Democrat, never.
Thank God.
My dad would come back and haunt me if I became a Democrat. I've never been a Libertarian, and I will not be a Libertarian. They don't represent my values.
My father was ashamed to tell my grandfather that he was a Republican.
Well, my father wasn't ashamed to tell me that he was a Republican.
But
And I'm not ashamed to tell anybody else that I'm a
Right.
Republican.
well, one of the things then, so how about getting ready for the SCC meeting coming up? Have you been able to do any planning with that? Have
Yes,
you
I
gotten
have.
involved with
That-
Go ahead.
No, it's all right. You finish.
I'm just getting involved with getting things set up for that, or have you been actively involved in that?
Actively involved in getting things set up for the
Yeah.
SCC meeting?
Yeah,
No,
coming
I
up, 'cause
haven't
you're
been
gonna chair
actively
that.
involved. I have been actively involved in putting together a PowerPoint presentation on what my vision is for the
Oh.
Republican Party of Alaska.
Yeah.
I've been actively involved in that. And I have a management plan, a marketing plan, and a registration plan, if I'm ever allowed to present it.
All right. A couple questions that people had brought up to me, and I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you're aware that, like Debbie, myself, and Randy, that it in order to be involved at the national level, it costs us somewhere in the vicinity of about $10,000 a year each to travel to the quarterly meetings and pay our own hotel and our own everything else. You're well aware of that, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. And the same thing would be, has anybody said, Russ, the party will pay that for you down the road here, or?
No. Nobody's ever told me that the
I
party
had
would.
had some people say, well, you know, so-and-so is telling you get in there, you know, I'll make sure you get paid to you, so you can do this. I just wondered if that was true.
No.
Yeah.
nobody's-
A lot of rumors running around.
There's always rumors, and I don't know how they get started, but they're losing a lot of people.
How about, how you gonna, I got another email showing that you had a big judgment that popped up against you. Is that gonna hurt your financial
A big
ability?
judgment?
Yeah, some kind of a judgment that came up on attorney's fees on a case that you were involved with?
No.
That popped up here in the last couple of days.
Maybe you think I'm gonna charge them a bunch of money.
No. It had to do with something having to do with an automobile accident.
No.
Were you involved in a case like that in the recently?
Yes.
There was something, came across my internet, and of course, we can believe everything we see on the internet, you know, but on the internet, it came across that there was a judgment that came out for attorney's fees and costs on a case that you were involved with from 2010 of about $55,000 that was because they had given you an offer of judgment which had been turned down, and the final judgment from the trial was less than the offer of judgment. I didn't know if that was true or not.
I haven't talked to my attorney in that case recently, but my understanding is the judge ruled a summary judgment in my favor. I don't know, Ralph. I've got to go talk to my attorney.
Well, there was a actual case that I did look up, and it showed that there was just 2 days ago or so, a final judgment of $55,000 was.
I haven't seen that, so I can't respond.
I can give you the summary of it, but I was just curious if that was true or not. I would think that would be a big crimp on your budget, but.
Ralph?
Yeah.
You asked me if that was true or not?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true.
Okay. Yeah, that basically things that I'd come up. So basically, I was concerned because people were telling me, "Oh, Russ has been locked out of the office, and nothing was provided for him, and records were locked up. He couldn't get to them." But that just wasn't the case. Then they're here. You had access, and you could have gotten to them if you needed to.
I could have got to the ones that are hard copies.
Yeah. And did you ever ask to get into the? I think aren't all the books kept on Quicken?
Everything is on QuickBooks.
QuickBooks.
And everything is obviously state filed with APOC and federal with the FEC, and I believe in our multiple donut eating sessions that we both gained a lot of weight during, I gave you the access to not only the FEC, the party FEC access, which is simply through the main website at the FEC. I also gave you the Joe Miller password so that you could access those donors directly. And I followed up on that, and what was your response?
You did give me access to Joe Miller's donors.
And ours.
In order, I don't know about that part, Randy, quite frankly, but in terms
Did
of
that
Joe,
first.
in terms of Joe Miller's donors, you told me to go find out who gave him money and then go after those people to raise money for Cian Stevens, for example. Well, I found out that you can't go to the FEC to find out their donor list to solicit money from donors on a list that were provided to the SEC that gave money to another candidate. So I didn't.
No, it's not what I asked you to do.
Well, so anyhow, rumors are going around. There's a big lockout. Russ couldn't get anything. He's locked out. I mean, that just was not true.
Well, you have to understand that I could go into those. I didn't think it was appropriate anytime I wanted to come in at midnight, for example, and rifle the files. I didn't know where the FEC reports were. He never showed me where the FEC reports were. And whatever files that are there, over there, over there, or over there. I don't know where they're at.
Whenever you asked, were you ever refused?
I don't know that I asked to look at the files.
Well, you don't recall asking.
No.
Other than the letter.
Other than the letter that I wrote for Ed.
Which
is in these documents.
I saw the letter. The letter basically said, copy these things and give them to me so I can take them and go with them, right?
You want me to read you?
I'm just summarizing. It didn't say, I want those copies available by June 2nd at such and such a time. To take,
Here, let me
to
read
my
this to
team.
you so there's no confusion.
Yeah.
Dear Randy, thank you for providing me with the flash drive of May 1st, 2012, excuse me, for my analysis request. When we sat down with you in the conference. For my analysis request the day before, which would have been on May 10th. For the ARP financial records to date, I have shared the contents with Alice and my leadership team, and it's clear that the information in the flash drive is far from adequate. Since the ARP convention of April 26th to 28th of 2012, dozens of past and current Republicans have approached me wanting to donate their time, effort, and money to the ARP. However, they will not do so until a clean transition of leadership is ensured that includes a documented certified financial health for the ARP. In my current position of Chairman of the Finance Committee and Chairman-elect of the ARP, it is my duty to review and to provide financial records, historical and current, to the Republicans who ask for this information. As many have to date, it is also my responsibility to raise money for the ARP through fundraising events and soliciting donations. As of today, we virtually have no documents or records which is preventing me from doing, or records and numbers of, As of today, we virtually have no documents or records which are preventing me from doing this. Therefore, I'm requesting the following. Access to all ARP bank accounts, including names and numbers of accounts, all bank statements, accounts payable and accounts receivable